our situation's a little bit different in that we have to we can't go and get everything. You know, it's a lot better now, but just mostly like how it was before, like the fear of like knowing that you're a child and that you're not supposed to be here.
Right.
And then the changes that were able to happen afterwards. Like, for example, for me, like I didn't even think that I was going to be able to go to college. So all of my high school years, I just kind of like, in the back of my mind was, this is important, yes. But for the most part, I'm going to have to get something that is like very labor intensive, or that I'm going to have to gain experiences, just like a business that I have to gain experience. So I was almost certain that I was going to go somewhere else.
Right. You're like, oh crap, I have to be an entrepreneur now.
Which turned out okay, because that's what I want to be anyways. But just opportunities like that. And even then, like, you can't really own a business if you're not legally in the United States.
Right. Did you ever see that Netflix documentary about like those undocumented people? Like not just like Mexican people, but like people from Honduras and stuff like that.
Right.
How like they were like, I think there was an army guy, like a veteran, that just got deported after he served his time.
Oh wow. No, I never saw that.
You never saw that? That was like popping like a year and a half back, like I think like during quarantine, like the beginning of quarantine.
Do you know the name of it?
I think it's called Living Undocumented.
I honestly, dude, I don't even think I've seen it like advertised.
Yeah, like it was on Netflix.
No, I didn't watch it.
I think it's called Living Undocumented. There was different episodes. There was one where like this guy had his interview with immigration,
mm-hmm.
and he had a lawyer, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the lawyer's like, there might be a chance to where they might not even let you out of the office. That's crazy.
Oh wow!
Like his family went like, you get me, like, and they're like, are you sure you want to run that chance? Like, I think the interview was for him to like fix his papers.
Right.
And he went, and like it was like a whole episode, bro. To like where they were deciding. I think he traveled to like another state.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that going back to that, it was like an episode. He like traveled.
Bring this closer to you.
He traveled to another state, bro. He like drove. They drove with the lawyer or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And they showed up, like they stayed like in a hotel, I think. And he was like let's say his appointment was like on Wednesday or whatever. They arrived like Tuesday night, like so they can go or whatever. And his lawyers are like, there might be a chance to where they might not let you out. And it happened, bro. They didn't let him out, bro. Like he went to the interview para arreglar.
Yeah.
And they didn't let him out.
And did that, like, they didn't let him out because of like records or like something that he
no
had done?
like it was just
that was
immigration.
Was that his situation in particular, or was that just like that's just a scenario that can
that's
happen?
just a scenario. That's just a scenario that could happen. You get me? Like, and then like they came outside. They greeted him. They like kissed his ass. And once they were inside, they like shoved him, bro. They like pushed him, and the lawyer wasn't able to go inside with him. Like after he like stepped into the door, they're like, you're being detained.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And the lawyer's like, you're a fucking scumbag, this and that, bro. Like obviously the lawyer was pissed. You get me?
Right.
But that's scary, bro. Like he went.
Yeah, he went thinking that he was gonna be able to have a better life, come out and shit.
Yeah,
they didn't let him out.
They didn't let him out, bro. That's trippy. And then there's like another one. There was a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
A veteran that he served his time.
Yeah.
He had his family, owned a house, this and that. And they deported him, bro.
That's fucking crazy.
A veteran, bro.
That's fucking crazy.
I'm not sure how many years you served, but regardless, you get me?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then there was another, I think it was like a company owner. It was like a pretty big company.
Mm-hmm.
Like mom and pop shop, but it was pretty big.
Right.
The same thing. Like he wasn't, I don't recall because they don't deport.
Still bring this closer to you.
They don't deport everybody on the episode,
mm-hmm.
but they do like they show like the hardships that we're talking about.
Right. So because every situation is different.
Right.
That's wild though.
Like there was
it's scary, bro.
That's super scary.
It's scary.
Like the company owner, I think I don't think they deported him, but I think they couldn't grant him like
like a visa or like a worker's
like a
visa or
visa,
like a
like
travel
yeah,
visa or
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But like he was the owner of an established company that was like making like maybe not millions a year, but like making it was like good, making good numbers. You feel
right.
and that's that. We stopped watching because then Heath would get like sentimental.
I mean, it's terrifying, dude, and that unfortunately for us, like that's a sad reality that we could potentially face when and if so, DACA comes to an end.
Right.
Like, which is it's a high possibility because it's such a great program that a lot of people feel it's unconstitutional because of the everything that it grants to us and it doesn't grant to other people. And so sometimes people feel like it's unfair and they have a genuine fight to get rid of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I understand. I lied. I don't understand why it bothers other people that it doesn't affect negatively.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know why it would bother other people. I feel like sometimes people don't even look at the emotional aspect of something, but rather more of the informational aspect of something. So like they're looking at this DACA program as a program that grants us with student loan help, temporary what's it called? Like temporary protection. It allows us to travel within the United States, and it's like in their eyes, it's and it gives us like free Medicare, so it's pretty nice.
Does it really?
Yeah, it gives you like a discounted rate on medical, I believe. I'm almost certain of that. I could be lying though. I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong, but I know it gives like a lot of really good student loan help.
Right.
If you're
well, it gives you a social to be able to do anything that a normal citizen would be able to do now.
Right.
In a way.
Right.
Like the only I think the only thing it doesn't let you do, like the only access it doesn't grant you is to travel outside
of the United States,
like,
right?
Freely.
Right. And I think even then you can still travel outside of the United States under an emergency evacuation.
During the Trump presidential era, they stopped doing that.
Yeah. And so they got reinstated just recently.
They stopped doing that. I have my dad's grandmother that got sick. She's like 108 right now.
God damn.
She's 108 right now.
Damn.
And she got sick. Now I see my parents can't go.
Right.
So, and my brother is too young to even, like, he's never been there, so he's just gonna go and kind of sit on his ass. So they wanted me to go, and we called and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that right now, which I don't understand.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, bro. I'm sure, like I said, that there's people that separate themselves emotionally from something, and then they just kind of look at like the factual information, and so in their eyes, it's unconstitutional. And I don't know the terms, and I don't know the exact reasoning and all that stuff. So like I'm not one to be arguing this, but as far as I'm concerned, I believe they just don't agree 100% with the amount of student loans that we're able to get. I think without having to pay back. I didn't take advantage of all this, so I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I continue to state that I'm not 100% sure about any of this.
Right. Do you think that people that are against it, apart from thinking it's unconstitutional, do you think that they're opposed to it because it's a benefit that is benefiting someone else and not them?
And that's what I'm like trying to say, that like people separate themselves emotionally, but at the end I think that it might bother them just a little bit.
That they're not getting some kind of benefit.
Yeah, that like it's that like we have it and they don't. Kind of like when you're a kid and you're fighting with somebody else because they have something that you don't, and you throw your little fit, you know?
Right.
I sometimes I genuinely feel like people are literally just throwing fits, like they're grown ass adults walking through this world throwing fits because they're not getting something that somebody else is getting.
Right.
But I mean, you can literally fly it under the radar as you think that it's unconstitutional, and the argument technically is there.
Is valid.
Right.
I feel that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it's sad.
It kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Then like for example, like you know how they say like, oh, they're like undocumented people are taking your jobs or whatever, or like, I don't understand that either.
Yeah.
I don't understand that either, right? Like
Yeah.
like one of like the main, what's it called? The main examples that like always comes up is like the gardening job or like the farming jobs, like agricultural jobs. Like you never see other people working that job other than pretty much undocumented people in a way.
Right. Right. And I'm sure there's like examples of other people working those
Of other
jobs.
yeah.
Right. You know, like they might own a farm where they didn't want to hire undocumented people and they want to hire all documented people instead. But I mean, honestly, I don't know.
But it's just cheap labor, so that's why they do it.
Perhaps. Yeah, it could be.
It's cheap labor, like
Yeah, you don't have to pay them essentially under the law, the minimum wage
right.
required by the state, which wherever you're. So yeah, it could fly under the radar as cheap labor.
Right, like I think I saw there's one in San Diego that like there's people that have like a visa, but like a work visa too, where they're able to come over to like San Diego and work, and they live like in Tijuana or something. So they just travel back and forth every day, which doesn't seem like a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. So I know that is true for sure. Because no, probably shouldn't talk about this actually. I'll cut this off, but I'll tell you. When I was first coming over, that's how we got across. That's how we got across, by saying that like we were going into
agricultural,
not agricultural, but that we were going into San Diego for the day. And you look at the lines of people that like live in Tijuana and work in San Diego, and they're big. Like there is a lot of people that live outside of the United States and cross the border every morning to work in San Diego, and then at the end of the day they literally walk themselves back across the border into Tijuana.
Well, there's kids that go to school that live in Tijuana, and they just cross the border to go specifically to school.
Right, and then not even just Tijuana. Tijuana is one example, of course, but El Paso, Texas, and Juarez. They're right. I think, is that the two? Hopefully, if not, I look like a dummy.
The borders.
Yeah. Juarez, and I think it's El Paso, and they're like literally like they walk across every day just to be able to do the things that they need to do. Sometimes their town is literally like outside of the border, but the closest school is across the border.
Yeah.
And so they have no other option but to send their kids to the closest school because it just makes sense.
Right.
It's wild, dude. It's
right.
insane.
Well, sometimes it's also like, I don't want you to go to that school because whatever.
And that's a fair argument too, because I mean, if you're a parent, you want the best for your kids. If they can walk a few hundred feet to go to school, or if you like, let's say
25-minute walk, let's say. Right.
Yeah, let's just say like a 2-mile walk. Like, yeah, I'm gonna send my kids to school over there if it's possible.
Right. And if it's not gonna cost them anything, right? At least financially cost them anything. You know what I mean, like maybe there might be another cost.
Right.
What would that cost be?
Probably the safety of your kids, because you're literally having them walk across the border every day, and a lot can happen between your house and their school, and they're in a whole nother country. Like they could literally be picked up for human trafficking on the other side of the border. And let's just say that your kids have papers but you don't.
Right. How are you gonna go check?
How are you supposed to go across and like check on them to walk back home?
One time I walked home from school, bro. I went to a school nearby my house. So it was like probably like 15, 20 minutes walking, bro. And I would take the school bus there, take a school bus back. So there was a routine, right? I'd get home 3:00ish. There was one time where I came home like around like 3:15 because I came walking, bro. My parents knew something was up, bro. You get me? Like, so then that day, for some reason, we decided to walk. I don't know why.
What did you guys normally do? Take the bus?
Take the bus. Like I said, we take the bus there, take the bus back. There was a routine.
Sorry, I missed that part for whatever reason.
You're drinking water.
That sounds like something I would do. How do you drink water and fucking listen at the same time? I don't know. Let me drink water first, and then I'll get back to what he's saying.
You just muted the whole world drinking
like,
water.
What happened, bro?
But yeah, so there's a routine there, back.
Yeah.
Right. Get home 3.
Yeah.
Right. Every day, Monday to Friday. For some reason, bro. I don't know why, bro. Cool thing to do. Let's walk home.
Yeah.
I walked home, bro.
Get your ass whooped, bro.
I got my ass beat, bro.
Yeah.
Why?
Dude, that doesn't even make any sense, bro. That's the other thing. It's like, oh, my child wanted to be cool and walk home from school. Let me beat his ass. Maybe that'll beat some sense into him. Like, I don't even know what I did wrong, bro. Why are you hitting me?
I think it's more of a.
It's a reaction.
Well, now we're going back to the cost of a safety.
You're right. Go ahead.
The cost of safety,
Mm-hmm.
right?
But
like,
bring this closer to you.
what if something happens in the trajectory of me walking home?
Right. Yeah, that's true. But it's kind of dumb too at the same time.
It
So
is.
You can argue it both ways. Like, obviously we're not parents, so we don't know what that feels like. We don't know to be scared of our kids not coming home. But we are kids, and it doesn't make any sense for us to have our parents hit us when they get scared. Like, bro, you're getting scared that I'm not showing up home, and then you're gonna beat me.
Not at all, bro.
Like, it doesn't make any sense, right?
It's just like culture, tradition. Why would that even be a culture? Why would that even be a tradition, bro?
Oh my God, I was scared for your life.
Yeah, you get me? Now I'm scared
Yeah.
for mine, bro. You get me? Like
Fucking Jesus. Now I'm scared for mine. Yeah.
I walked home, right, and then I saw my dad's car.
Oh yeah.
Like I keep looking back, like I just stole something, bro. Like I just robbed a bank, bro. Like I keep looking back, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was finally down my street, and I see my dad's car, bro. Like I see my dad's car turning onto the street,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it can't be.
It's
like
not.
in the movie, like,
You're
it can't be.
like-
Is it? Oh, it is.
Here, like, if I don't
Right.
turn around, it's not there.
Right. No. So I saw it. Like there's a stop sign.
Yeah.
Like right. I hid behind a car, bro. I hid behind a car, bro. You get me? Like just like the cars that are parked in the street. I hid behind it like I stole something, bro. I was probably like 3 minutes from my house, bro.
Oh my God, bro. That's fucking funny, bro.
You get me? And then I got home, like where were you? I'm like, oh, the bus ran late. They're like, oh, that's funny because the bus got here at 3. I'm like, word?
Oh, fucking hell, man.
You get me? Like, it's like, what's the tradition? What's the culture? Like, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get me? Like one time, mom used to take care of one of my buddies because mom got home late from work, and like maybe there's too much information, but his parents were like divorced or whatever, right? So one time, like he never saw his dad.
It's
one
probably
time,
not too much information, bro. There's plenty of people that are divorced.
you get me?
Anyways, continue.
And his name is no,
And his address is.
but he would never see his dad. Like he would see his dad occasionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, his dad picked him up at school one day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I always take the bus. I always take the bus, right? So
Yeah.
So his dad picked him up, and he's going back to my house regardless.
Yeah.
So he's like, just ride with me and my dad. I'm like, that sounds like an excellent idea. That sounds like an excellent idea, right? We're both going to the same place.
We're both going to my house.
We're both going to, right? Like, mom didn't like that. Got my ass beat again. Right? Because I should have been on the bus. I should have been on the bus, right? So now that argument was that, again, the cost of my safety, right? Like,
Yeah.
what happens if,
This guy turns out to be a crazy and wants to take you guys somewhere else.
right?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, no, that's stupid. Like, now
That wouldn't happen.
That wouldn't happen. It makes sense now because there's a
Yeah.
bunch of crazy people in the world right now. Not right now, just in general. Like
Well, right now,
before,
tomorrow,
right
and the
now,
next day.
tomorrow, yeah. Anywhere, bro. Yeah,
So
which makes sense now. Like, but before I was like, nah, you're crazy. Like he was gonna bring me home for sure. He brought us home, but
He was probably like, damn, I'm going to kidnap my kid.
word. Oh, what? You brought your friend? Y ese mocoso kid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, bro. But I know for sure that I'm not going to continue that tradition.
I agree.
Like I'll probably try to do a little bit better. I don't know. Like I said, I always express like things that parents should do, but I'm not a parent, so I don't know, and I'm aware of that. Like I'm aware that I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be like. I don't know what it's gonna feel like, but I know what it felt like for me,
Right.
and I don't want my kids to feel that way. Like I want to give them a voice and be aware that they are people. That be aware that like if they're expressing something is because of a reason, and if just because it doesn't make sense to you as an adult doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense to them as children. Because like you remember yourself as a maybe 10-year-old for sure. Everybody remembers that themselves as a 10-year-old. You have some sense.
I remember my 4th birthday party, bro.
I remember my 5th birthday party, and I remember an episode at 3 when I was just looking up at an airplane. I was like, dude, I remember this vividly. For whatever reason, I remember this part of being 3 vividly. Holding my mom's hand and looking up at an airplane.
Word.
That's like the youngest I remember. 3 years old.
Isn't that funny?
It is funny. But you're aware is what I'm trying to get at. It's like you're aware, like you are able to know what is, I guess, not everything, but you have a voice. Like you should have a voice.
Right.
And so like when you're trying to express yourself to your parents and your parents are just choosing not to listen to you because they're the parents, it almost like makes you feel like you don't even have a voice as a kid. And it's like,
But do you really think that as a kid? Like, oh, I don't have a voice.
I don't know.
I think as a kid, like, I wouldn't really think much of it. Like, I think I just like, all right, you listen, whatever.
Yeah, see, and it's like there's all kinds of kids is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like some kids are more okay to having that authority over them, and other kids are more like, well, why do I have to just listen to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why can't we just discuss it, go back and forth, and find out the best answer? Like, doesn't that just kind of make sense, Mom?
Right.
Like, and that was me as a kid. Like, my mom would tell me no, and I'd be like, why? And she'd be like,
There.
okay, I guess that's why.
You understand now? Why didn't you say that?
Should have said that sooner.
Right.
Should have said that on the W.
Right. Word.
Yeah.
Word. What's like a tradition, or not a tradition, but like something that your parents did as a not to you, but something that was like kind of in a routine that you faced as a kid, and you look back at it now and you're like, what the fuck was that?
I want to say like food intake.
Mm-hmm.
They would just let me eat whatever I wanted. And now
movie, bro.
Movies for you?
No, bro, like that's a movie, bro. Like,
Oh yeah. Like you can eat whatever you want.
right?
Yeah, I think now looking back, I'm like, huh.
You hit your calorie intake by like noon.
Oh shit, bro! I would remember drinking a pot of coffee. My mom had like this like
Coffee?
Coffee, bro.
Okay.
She had a little pottery thing, like a little teapot
Okay.
that she wouldn't use for tea. She would use for sugar. And so when the sugar was done, there was the only sugar that was left was like the residue around it. So every time that would happen, I would pour the coffee in there and then drink it straight out of there.
Starbucks.
Starbucks who? It was like this teapot, and I don't know, just like probably food just doesn't make any sense to me. Like there's no reason for a kid to be able to choose his own meals or like dictate how many meals he's having.
A 10-year-old eating 8 enchiladas.
Wish it was 8. No. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but I do remember that. Like I remember just being able to eat.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm. There was no bedtime. There was really no curfew.
The curfew was when the lights in the street
came
just
on.
turned on. Dead ass, like
I didn't have any street lights on as a kid.
sense. When the moon is out.
When the moon is out and the wolves are howling, you come home, mijo.
Time to wrap it up. Time to wrap it up, son.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Yeah, probably just the food and then the hitting and then the communicating. I would want to change those 3 things for sure. Like there's a reason for why you can't eat something. And I want to make sure that they understand that too. I don't want to just tell them like, you can eat something because of this. You can't eat something because of that. They have to understand.
Right.
Hitting probably wouldn't hit.
Like, I work with kids. I coach kids. So, one of the, like, a couple months back, one of the parents told me, like, oh, so and so had soda for the first time. These kids are 9. Like,
yeah.
these kids are 9. You get me? Like, I didn't, like, it kind of baffled me. Like, he didn't drink soda before. And
So what do you do? Just look at it?
You get me? Like, it baffled me. Like, 9-year-old, you get me? Like,
Yeah.
you've been, you get me? Like, okay, you start eating with solid food, what, 3-4 years old? You get me? And, like, I pretty sure I drank soda when I was younger than that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I drank soda when I was younger than that too. But you see, it makes sense to an extent.
Tradition?
For them?
For both sides.
No, I think for them it would be like an over safety thing. But then again, I don't know what science says about kids having sugar or soda, for example.
Or just like getting at your teeth or whatever.
What happened?
Just like the soda getting at your teeth or like the sugar.
Yeah, like cavities. I don't know any of that stuff. So I mean, 9. I don't know. You can argue that that's overprotective. Somebody out there that has the information might be able to figure out whether 9 is a good age or a bad age. But it all just goes back to what you believe in, and it's like, it's hard. Like I said, I keep saying the same thing, but it's right now we're not parents, so we don't know what it's like to having to take care of this little person. Like, I mean, like we don't know what it's like. And so like, it's very easy for us to become overprotective of this person.
Right.
So I think in this case, 9, bro, for the first time you're having soda, like,
Imagine that, bro. Imagine how the kid felt, bro.
you have soda, bro.
It's
and
like,
then 5 years later, you have your first time. Should have just waited. You could have had your first time and a glass of soda, bro.
Movie. Imagine how the kid felt.
Yeah.
Like, first time trying it. This is delicious.
Or
give me more.
yeah, dude. I don't know. Yeah.
What? But obviously, I'm sure soda has more sugar, this and that. Like what's it called? The carbonation of the soda, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm sure kids drink juice, and juice
is more sugar than fucking soda, bro.
Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, I would say so.
So what's the difference?
And that's why I'm saying it's like, it's hard. I don't know. It's hard from the outside in. It's easy for us to say, oh, that parent's doing the wrong thing.
No, I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just asking, like, like,
how does that make any sense? Or
no,
why?
how does it make, not how does it make any sense, but like what got you to like think like that?
What got you to the point where you're it's like, my kid's not having soda till the age of 9? Yeah, probably the information about sugar. Which is what I'm saying. Like, it could be like, let's just say for example that you figure out sugar is horrible for kids, right? It messes up their teeth, like you stated. It fucks up their stomach. It increases the chances of high blood pressure, diabetes, all that stuff, which it does.
Those are big problems, bro.
I mean, but okay, right? They are big problems. So as a parent, if you know all of these are potential problems out of this one thing, is it easier for you to keep that one thing away from your child, or is it easier for you to just give in and let him have whatever he wants? So I don't know. It's hard to argue that, and it's like I said, I don't think it's for us to say whether, like what to make of it. Mm-hmm. But I think it just becomes like an overprotection thing. Like, you become aware of something that is dangerous for your child, and because you love them so much, you become overprotected.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of excessive. In my personal opinion, that's a little bit excessive. Sugar or soda for the first time at 9.
Not parenting advice.
Not parenting advice. Raise your kids however you want.
No, but in Chino's podcast, they said that.
Disclaimer. What's something that you would change about the way that you were brought up, something that your parents did that never made any sense to you, that you were like, well, that was stupid. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
I think the way I see things, you get me? Like, my parents always saw that certain things I did were like not okay. which let me rephrase it.
Mm-hmm,
Right?
mm-hmm.
Like just the way, like for example, if I told my not let's say I did something,
Right.
right? Like for example, like just my attitude towards like small things. You know, like my mom at least, she has a very big temper.
Okay.
So like the smallest things irritate her,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe it wasn't necessarily towards us, but towards me.
Right.
But it was more of a she got irritated, so now she's taking it out on us. And it was none of that abusive thing either. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but like for example, like she just had like a very short temper. Like she gets mad over the smallest thing, and now I tell her like, what are you mad for?
That happened like 2 hours ago, bro. Let it go.
Like what are you mad for now?
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
and like I guess my mom, like I say my mom, but my mom's a big character in my life.
That's good.
Right.
As she should be. That's
Yeah.
your mom. You only get one.
She's a big character in my life, right? So there's times where she gets mad. She lives in the past too. So like just kind of like we should have done this.
Mm.
You should have done that.
Right.
We should have gone here. We should have got that.
Right.
You get me?
Yeah. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You get me? Like I get so going back to your question, right? Just kind of the way I see things. You get me? Like I'm gonna try to understand why someone did something, not just that's not right, and just fucking talk shit.
Right. Yeah. You're like, I guess what we're trying to say is probably take control of the emotions before you take it out on your kid.
Yeah.
Like if something pissed you off as a parent, be mindful of the fact that right now you're not maybe in the greatest state of mind. And if your child is pissing you off, like you might want to take a walk. Otherwise, you might say something that's hurtful. You might say something that is that more or less what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one, dude. That's for something that for sure Latino parents don't have a lot of. I feel like Latino parents are gonna hate me, bro. I bash on them so much.
No, but it's like just like would you say culture changes?
You know, I think we are a new generation of people. Our parents.
We have different cultures within us because now let's say we grew up with Hispanic Mexican culture.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in the United States whatever years.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't adopt because we haven't lived with anybody else, but kind of just like what we see, what we learned, what we've just experienced, I guess, in a way. You get me? Because teachers have a lot to do with the way some people are as well. You get me?
Right.
I mean, not in a mean way, not in a rude way. But
Yeah,
for
yeah,
example, like if your teacher did a certain thing in their classroom, right? And you're like, oh, why don't we do that at home?
You know what? That's very interesting. I never thought about that before.
You get me? Like,
That's a good point.
Why don't we do that at home? You get me? Like, for example, like, I can't think of an example right now.
Well, let's just say that it's like a kindergarten class, and just putting your stuff away when you're done, or waiting for somebody else to be done talking before you talk over them.
Yeah.
Just like simple things.
Right. Like for example, and lots of the habits that we have are things that we learned in school. Like we learned to wait in school for whatever, whether you're waiting in line, whether you're waiting to read, whatever, you learned to wait. Right? So you learned certain things, certain traits at school, and you learn certain traits at home.
Right.
Right. So like your personality comes a lot from the way you're raised, the way maybe your family is.
But then you create your habits in school.
Then you create your habits in school. Like
Yeah.
like you don't learn at home. Oh, you do in a way.
Right.
Wait for your turn. Wait for this. Wait for that. Right. Like that's just an example.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a good point though, and I think we're just a good mix of it all.
Right.
Like we grew up with a lot of really old school values from our parents.
Which aren't bad. Like anything else, you pick and choose what you get me. Like in a way, like create your own platter.
And it's nice, dude, because we saw all of those great features that they have as old school parents, and then we were able to, because of their leap of faith, because of them putting themselves in a situation where like they have to come to this country, we were able to grow up in classrooms that were well funded, that had good teachers, that had good manners, that had just like good education. And so like we literally got all these opportunities. And I think that now that we're turning into our mid-20s, some of us are 30s, some of us are early 20s, we're starting to develop our own culture. And because of our ability to have new information upon the way that we were brought up in our schools and the way that we were brought up at home, we're able to, like you said, kind of pick our own platter and be selective of what we carry on to our next generation.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well, it's just in a way you're creating your own culture, because then your kid is gonna, same thing we just did.
Right.
Pick whatever they're getting from us, and then like as they grow, as they learn, develop their own habits, their own routines, their own whatever.
Yeah.
And create their own. So that's just how it works.
Yeah. I think it's the cycle of life.
That's tight.
It is cool, dude. It's cool.
That's very tight.
I don't know where it's gonna go from here, but for the time being, I think it's cool to just be able to, like you said, make your own platter. I like that. I'm gonna use that analogy.
Make your own platter, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It's nice, dude. Do you think you'll have kids?
Definitely.
I don't want kids.
You don't want kids?
No, I'm fucking with you. Of course I want kids. I want kids.
You want kids soon?
Yeah. I think there's a lot in.
Is there something that needs to happen first? Like,
No, and yes. There's nothing holding me back from kids, other than the fact that I am aware that a child requires a lot. It requires a lot out of you, and it requires a lot out of your wallet. And so, like, what am I what am I gonna bring a kid to this world just to suffer? Like, I might as well just position myself in a better situation before bringing a child into this world, so that because I mean, think of going back to our parents. Think of the way that we grew up, right? And not to bash on them, but just for comparison reasons. Now take a look at the way that maybe some kids grow up. Maybe they grow up in a household where there's only maybe 2 kids, or maybe even just 1 kid, but they have access to pretty much everything, right? Like, they have the ability to go take a soccer league. They have the ability to go take gymnastics. They have the ability to get a tutor.
Yeah.
And it shows in the way that this child grows up. Obviously, there's other factors that play into it, but you at least want to be able to give them the best chance possible. And I know that in my current position, there's no way that I would be able to do all of that for a child, right? Mm-hmm. So I may as well just kind of wait, get the ball to where I want it to be, and then have kids.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So what would that time frame be for you?
There's no time frame. There's really no time frame. I think because literally a lot can happen in a year, a lot can happen in 6 months, a lot can happen in 3 years. So it all just depends on where life plays out for me in the nearby future, mm-hmm. and then go from there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree to where you say that you want to be able to put your child in a good place, not necessarily just spoil them, but at least give them a comfortable life. Mm-hmm. You get me? Obviously, a baby's not gonna know, like, oh, this house is huge. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. This house is huge. You know? Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? You're starting your own, in a way, generation. So you should be able to kind of do it yourself, because you did it yourself. And
that's the way that I think about it too. Like, yeah, there's a generation previous to us, but they did it their way, and like, you have a different set of rules in your play. Mm-hmm. There's a different set of rules in your game. There's a different set of assets in your game, so you may as well just use them all to the best of your ability.
Right.
Which is something that we discussed in the past about just like changing what we do for a living, or how we make a living.
Right.
So that we can give ourselves better opportunities, so that we can give our future kids better opportunities.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think we just try your best.
Right.
Try to give them a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And then their kids are going to do a little bit more, and their kids are going to do a little bit more.
Right. Do you ever think of generational wealth?
Yeah, all the time, all the time. Um, I keep a journal, written to my grandkids.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's tight.
yeah. So the journal's mostly for me, and I write in it as if I were writing to myself. But every once in a while, I flip a page, and I'm just like, this entry is for one of my future kids, like one of my future grandkids, to the little one that doesn't fit in anywhere, to the big one that doesn't fit anywhere, to the insecure one that doesn't fit anywhere, and I write it.
How did that come about?
I can think back to fifth grade when fifth grade was my first year in the United States, my first school year in the United States, and I remember having hella projects about generations and wealth and what your grandparents do. Not wealth, what the fuck?
How much do your parents make a year?
Bro, sometimes sometimes I say shit and I'm like, that's not, yeah, no. I didn't mean to throw that in there, but I think I talk faster than I think.
That's funny. Yesterday, Heather was telling me you have to think before you talk, because sometimes I do that. I talk too fast and I just slur things.
Yeah.
Right. I think
I can't remember.
you don't think about it.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah, like right now yeah, whatever. But the last time I remember that it was in fifth grade, and I had a lot of projects about just previous generations. What did your dad do? What your grandpa do?
Yeah.
I couldn't write anything, bro. I didn't fucking know anything. They didn't have anything. Like, I know where they're from, but they didn't do anything.
I wasn't a bright kid. I wasn't a bright kid, bro.
That's fine. Neither was I.
You get me? Like, before, like, I wasn't embarrassed, but, like, I wasn't embarrassed to say things, but, like, I would just say, like now, well, maybe it makes sense now. Like I say, my parents are from, like, Guerrero.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like before I would just say my parents.
Ahora, cocho.
You get me? Like, before, like, I would say my parents are from Mexico. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I was ignorant, the right word?
No, naive. That's the right word.
Naive, like, you get me? Like, I would just say, like, oh, my parents from Mexico. What part? Oh, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? Like, just like things like that, you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And you said fifth grade was your first year
Mm-hmm.
in public school year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went to kindergarten here.
Oh shit, you were here youngin'.
Yeah, I went to kindergarten here. So I went K through 12 here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? K through 12 and college.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I was younger, I didn't really know.
Yeah, try to bring this closer to you, man. You don't have to come to it, but you can literally just bring it closer to you. Yeah.
I didn't really know that I was different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you were so little, you didn't know.
Right? You get me? Like, I didn't know that at the time that I wasn't in the same position as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Obviously, what's the word? I would know that my dad worked 2 jobs. I would know, but I didn't really see much of it.
Mm.
You
You didn't think much of it.
Yeah, I didn't think much of it. So I would know that. So the reason why I'm going with this is that I was different because my dad had to work 2 jobs because my mom couldn't work.
Mm-hmm. Because of the paperwork
Because
issue.
of the paperwork.
That's fucking crazy. Dude.
You get me?
Mm-hmm.
So I would see my dad work 2 jobs, right? Normal,
Right.
right? And eventually provide everything that we needed, right? And
Right.
there's kids. I would go to school with kids that my age did everything I did, right? School, playground, whatever. And both their parents had good jobs, financially okay, but you get me? Like, I just wouldn't see that. Obviously, you don't see that unless you, like, go to someone's house.
Yeah, and you see the way that they live and that they have all the toys that you don't have. Or something
Right.
Like that, right.
Right. So I didn't really see myself different. And up until, like, I'm going to say I was very naive,
Mm-hmm.
right? 7th, 8th grade, didn't think much of it either. You get me? 7th, 8th grade, what are you going to do there? You don't need a job there, whatever.
Right.
I think it wasn't until, like, 9th grade I started realizing that, I'm not like, you get me? Like, there was like friends that would say like, oh, we're going to Cancun for vacation or whatever.
Oh, if I go,
Yeah, you get me. Like I didn't know that. Like I always thought like, why don't we just go back? Why don't we go visit our family?
mm-hmm.
Right, and then, well, my parents told me, but like at that time I didn't understand the concept of, well,
immigration laws and stuff like
yeah, you get me. Like, well, we came on a plane here. Why can't we go on a plane back?
that. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you're a kid, man. It's different. But that's a fair question. It's not something. I don't know if you feel bad about it or if you ever like stop to think like, man, it's not something that I gave it a whole lot of thought to.
Right.
Yeah, but it's fair. It's different for me because I came here when I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
So like I knew given the situation, the way that we got here, when we got here, what I could and what I couldn't do. I knew that I was definitely here on a different set of rules than everybody else around me.
Mm-hmm.
And not just that, but I went to a very rich elementary school. Like very rich. All of their kids were getting picked up in Porsches, like, and so I had to.
I didn't know anything about cars, bro. I didn't know anything about brands, bro. Like,
I didn't know anything about cars either, bro. But you know a nice car when you see one,
right? Like it's shiny. Like
you
like,
know an expensive car when you see it,
right?
And
right,
like you like, and their parents will like, they had like good stable schedules where they were able to come home and pick them up at a decent time. So like I had to realize very quickly that like, hey, there's a different set of rules set out for you and I,
mm-hmm.
me, you just be aware of them. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to diminish yourself to be less than anybody else, but just be aware of it.
Right.
So it's different. I was aware of it from very early on, but there was a lot of things that I was definitely still naive to, and just simply because I didn't know what I could and couldn't do.
Apart from traveling, what do you think we couldn't do like everyone else?
It's not but when you're in that age group, we'll say kindergarten through middle school, even high school, dude, you're dependent on your parents, and our parents don't work the same jobs that other parents work. Our parents don't. I mean, I don't know if you remember hanging out with your parent friends in high school, but my parents didn't work enough to give me an allowance of $100 a week, which I knew some of my friends that did.
I remember telling my mom that concept of like, if I do things at the house, will you pay me for them? And mom was like, get out of my face, little boy.
Yeah.
Like, why would I do that?
Right.
things have to be done, bro. Things have to be done in the house. What do you mean I have to pay you for it? I'm like,
Chewy, bro.
But my friends do all the time.
We'll go to your friend's house and go do chores at his house. Maybe you'll get paid and you can bring home some money. Yeah, it's different. I mean, so I guess in that aspect, there's no way that, apart from just traveling, we are dependent on our parents. So for me, it was spending habits. Like I couldn't spend the way that my friends were spending. I couldn't spend the way.
I got clothes in the beginning of the year for school. Got clothes for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And like
I'd get maybe.
I wouldn't really get birthday presents from my parents. I'd get like the party that they threw for me was my present.
Right. You're like, this is whack.
Word.
I want a PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well, my friend got a birthday party and presents.
Step up your game.
Right. Like you think that now, but like,
yeah.
Now that we're older, now that
we're able to look back and realize, fuck, like that birthday
that
party was everything. And you know what, bro?
And birthday parties are expensive, bro.
I think about that now, and I'm just like, that was such a waste of money. Like, honest to God, like, why would you waste, bro? In Hispanics, we party, man. Yeah. We fucking party. Like, that party was maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000.
Yeah.
And the taquero was $500. That's already $2,500.
Right.
But you could have just put that shit in a savings account, bro.
Right. You think of that now, though.
I think that now.
You think of that now, you feel now that we have different knowledge and like just different ideas of different things.
Mm-hmm.
But like before, like I would look forward to that weekend for my birthday party.
Of course. And I think they understood that too. I think they knew that like once a year we get this exciting party.
Right.
And so they try to keep it.
Right. I had a birthday party every year. It was always themed. I always dressed up, like, of the theme. One time I had like a Robin birthday party.
Robin?
Yeah, like Batman and Robin.
Oh.
Like before, like back then, the Teen Titans were like a big thing. So I'm like, I want a Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And they did like almost anything that
Yeah, it's your birthday, bro. It's special.
not anything that I wanted, but like for example, like I wanted this toy for the cake, so we'd look for weeks for that toy.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like eventually,
Put on
like,
top of the cake?
yeah, it's put on top of the cake.
Sick.
If you're like one time, I had like for example like a John C- like WWE, like I had a John Cena theme birthday. I dressed like John Cena, bro. I just like John Cena. Fuck off, bro. You get me? Like just like the parents were.
Where you at, bro? I can't see you.
Word. My parents did everything that they were able to do at that moment for that special occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And you get me? Like before, like you're supposed to do it. You get me? Like before, maybe that was my thought, but like
Yeah.
you know, like I wasn't like
You were too young to understand.
right. So now I see it, like that birthday party didn't cost $100, bro.
Right.
Right, that birthday party didn't cost $100.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy, huh?
That's super crazy.
I think, how old are you now?
I'm 24.
I think once you hit, for whatever reason, bro, and I don't know if it was just me. Hopefully not. I mean, I have you as an example now. As soon as you hit like 24, you start thinking about all the shit that your parents did for you, and you just become so thankful. Like you become so grateful for all the sacrifices that they made, and you realize, because you're having to do things on your own, and you realize like, oh shit, my parents like really went out of their way to make sure that I got that. My parents really went out of their way, put themselves in an uncomfortable situation to make sure that I had the birthday party that I wanted, the toy that I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's wild to think about, dude.
Yeah. Like
That's,
like the sacrifices that their parents made. Like I think I started thinking about that when I was like 21, 22. You get me? Like it sounds a bit late.
No.
It sounds a bit late, but you know what I mean? You should like more aware, because now, for example, by the time you already had your first job,
Right.
you already started. You're in college. You kind of like started doing things on your own. Now you go.
Mm-hmm.
And during that like when you graduate, let's say 17, 17 to 20 years old, you're just like in a rush of life, bro. You just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
We were everywhere, bro.
Everywhere, bro. We were places we shouldn't be.
We were everywhere. And I recall us hanging out since at that time.
Yeah.
It was just a rush every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really have time to
to process any of it.
To process, and you don't have, in a way, you don't have time to kind of give those thoughts about like, wow, my parents did this for me. You get me? Like at that time, you're like, bye mom, hi mom, bye mom, I'm leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get me? So like,
but I think that's normal though.
yeah, it's normal, because almost everybody does it, because usually, I mean, not all, but some people go through the stages that we went through, bro.
Hoy no jueves.
Hoy no jueves. Era viernes every weekend, bro.
Yeah, bro. It was Friday every day. I remember at one point we found something to do every day of the week.
Yeah.
I think Monday was like Club Mondays, and Tuesday was like Margarita Tuesday, and Wednesday was like something, and Thursday was our something.
Yeah.
And Friday and Saturday sure was party.
You get me? So it was just like a rush. But like you said, like when you reach 24 or 23 or 22, like you kind of
slow down a little.
You like slow down. You start to realize like, hey, I need to relax. And I wasn't no psychopath either. Like I wasn't doing like no absurd things. You know what I mean? But like just like in the normal life of a 17, 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old.
Yeah.
You get me? That, and then yeah. So going back, so now you're thinking of things like the things your parents did. So like that took a lot, probably.
Mm-hmm.
That took a lot.
You know, if I can go back to something else that we had said about what is something that I would do for my future kids, I'd probably give them a little bit more responsibility. Like, I would hold them accountable for a lot more.
Yes, to an extent. Go ahead.
Are you first?
No.
Okay. I just didn't feel like I had anything to be responsible for, bro. Like I literally, like, I felt like I could walk in and out the house like at any given moment. Like there was almost like no boundaries.
I think I was responsible for things I was not aware that I was responsible for.
What do you mean? Explain.
What do I mean by that? Like for example, it's just small things. You know what I mean? Like helping on the house. Let's just say, right? Like back then, like it's maybe I'm completely off the track of what you're saying. But for example, why didn't you throw the trash? Right? Is that my job to throw the trash? You know what I mean? Like why? Let's say, why didn't you wash dishes? So those are things that you're just naturally should be doing, right? And I wasn't doing them because I wasn't aware that that was my job.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
You get me? Mm-hmm. So just is that what you were talking about? Like for example, I do agree that I should have been, like, I think my parents always told me this. You're only at that time. My only responsibility is school.
Your grades.
School.
Yeah.
Grades. Right. So why do you like before, like with the school I went to, we didn't get A's A through F. We got 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. My report cards looked a lot like 1s and 2s. A 4 for participation porque era bien metido, bro.
Jesus, I'm not calling on you.
A 4 for metido on certain things, like.
Yeah.
You get me? But that's the only responsibility that I had. You get me? Other responsibility at the house. You get me? Like I said, going back to, like, why didn't you take out the trash? That's not my job.
I'm supposed to take out the trash?
Why didn't you wash the dishes? Me wash dishes?
You didn't tell me to.
You didn't tell me to. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like,
and what would you add to your load? What would you add to what would you add to that list that you're talking about?
Bro, honestly, it's not even just so they can do something, it's so they can learn something.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even give myself responsibilities to do something just because like I wasn't doing something, but so I can learn how to do it. Right. So like I can learn how to pick up a schedule. Like so I can learn that
time management.
Time management, bro.
I suck at time management.
Oh my God, bro. Like literally to this day I still suck at time management because there was no time record of anything.
Right.
I could show up and leave whenever I wanted to. Like if we were going somewhere, like there was just no structure or nothing, none of that.
Right.
So that's another thing that I would change. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there was no structure. Like you get home from school, do your homework, do whatever you right. I get home from school, you do your homework. Yep, that was not done. I knew damn well it wasn't done.
Yep. No.
Yep. Out the door. Go play. Lights are turning on. Let's go back. Let's go back home.
Do the homework now.
I didn't pick up good habits until like my sophomore year of high school.
I didn't pick up good habits till my sophomore year of college.
It wasn't even a good habit. I mean, I
didn't even go to college.
But you have a career. But you have a. You didn't go to.
I did go to college technically.
Technical career college.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that I picked up good habit. I just kind of realized, like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, there's times where like 7th to 8th grade, you kind of like you're not all over the place. You're just like lazy. Mm-hmm. 9th grade, you're very lazy. You get me? Like, apart from being lazy, you kind of now you're in the position to where you're like, I'm in a brand new school with older kids.
I can do what I want. I can pretend to be what I want.
Maybe not everybody has this, but you see different people, you see different groups, right? And you're aware. You're not an idiot either. You get me? You're aware that certain people, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now, apart from being lazy, now you kind of have to. High school grades matter, right? You're lazy. Not everybody, but I was lazy in high school.
Yeah.
And now you have to fit in with something, a group, right?
Yeah, a group of people or
A
something.
group of people. Maybe that wasn't a thought, but that was just kind of something you just did naturally.
Subconsciously, yeah. Yeah. You have a girl that you kind of interested in, so you gotta figure that out.
Right. Right. So that was like a weird
Stage.
stage for me.
Yeah. And I think at that point in my life, structure definitely would have been able to help. Because I think that was like a dictating point how good I was going to be at structuring things in the future.
Right.
Yeah. But high school was a little different. We're going to segment onto the DACA stuff, but we could talk about it. So I want to just mostly talk to you about, like I said, about our experience going through life prior to DACA, which we kind of just covered a little bit mostly. And then the opportunities that we were able to pick up once DACA came about.
Right.
Because I know that we are both DACA recipients, and I don't know how old you were, but I imagine that your life changed somewhat once you became recipient of it.
Yeah.
So high school for me was like, I kind of cared. I kind of did what I was supposed to, but for the most part, I was aware that after high school, I didn't really have anything lined up. I knew that I couldn't go to college. I looked it up. I remember looking it up my sophomore year in high school. Like, do you need to be legal to be able to go to college? And you need to have a social security to be able to go to college. And so I asked my mom, I'm like, hey, do I have a social security? No. Can I get a social security? No. Cool. Fuck high school. So then I started doing high school very differently in that it wasn't as important for me to necessarily get all of the best grades that I could have. I'm naturally very drawn to information. Like, I enjoy learning. I genuinely enjoy learning. I just don't enjoy doing homework. So I would never do my homework. There was one time in a math class, bro, I had a 0% in my homework. Not one homework assignment that I turned in. My test scoring average for that class, I think it was like an 85%. Really? So the teacher pulled me aside and you're like, you're cheating. I was like, fuck you. No, I'm not. I'm paying attention, bro.
Fuck you.
Nah, well, I didn't say that, obviously. But yeah, just homework was not my priority because I knew which is weird to think about, and it's something that maybe not everybody's going to be able to agree with me on, but you have to understand, like, I'm a teenager going through life. Teenage years are already hard enough as it is, and then you add on top of it the fact that you come to terms with the fact that you are here illegally and that your life is not going to be the way that somebody else's life is going to be. And so what do? You know?
Right.
Like, you just try to make the best of it. So my life just kind of took a different direction, and then I stopped trying as hard in high school. I still got through high school decent. I don't know how. But that's just something that I became aware of, and I just kind of threw in the towel almost.
Right. Well, when I wasn't in high school yet, like, family and friends would tell my parents, like, their kids are in high school, this and that. And I'm not sure if this was free, it just happened to you, but high school seemed like it was like, if you finished it, like, you did amazing. Yeah, because I don't recall if it was family, but for sure family friends that their kid barely passed high school. Like, some didn't continue high school. You get me? And it was kind of like, my parents were like, "It's a big deal. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal, right?" So when I was in high school, you get me? Like going back to, I was lazy, right? I was lazy. I wouldn't do my homework, right? That got me sent to a school where I had to catch up.
Yeah.
Right. It was in the same school, but just like a different classroom.
Yeah.
To where I had to catch up the homework, right? And then
right.
and then I realized they're like, I'm here not because I'm
stupid.
Just
because I'm not doing my work.
It's because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
So then it was continuation school, right?
Right.
Continuation school. So now, when you're there, you're usually there for like a year and a half, because you got in there because you're so far behind.
Right. So that's about the average time that it takes
Right.
for somebody to make up all the missing work, right?
Right.
Yeah, I had to do that too.
Right. So then that's when I realized, like, my parents, like, mom thought I was, like, doing drugs. Like, 'cause mom thought
Yeah.
like, mom thought I was getting locked up. Yeah, so mom thought I was like, she's like,
That's
she's
where
like,
all
like,
the fuck ups go. That's
like, what are you doing? You only have one job. Your grades, your schooling, whatever. Right.
Well, I'm fired, mom. What do you want me to do about it?
Right. So then that's when I realized, I'm like, fuck, I'm in a pickle. I'm in a pickle. Right.
Yeah.
Now mom thinks I'm a high school dropout because we get me, like, I wasn't, you get me, but, like, I got sent to a school, like, it was a big thing, bro. There was a meeting, right? Like, principals, whatever. And I got sent to a school where you see all the kids there. I shouldn't be there, bro. Like,
You're looking around and you're
Yeah.
like, this is not.
I'm like, you're not bien for the storm, bro. Yeah, like, you see me there, and, like, what are you doing there, bro?
The other kids are looking at you like,
Yeah, like, they're like, what are you doing here? Like, my image didn't fit in that school, bro.
yeah, and you realize that.
Right, and then you realize that. I'm like, crap, I got out of that school in one semester, bro.
Yeah, good for you.
You get me? Like, if I would have put in the work,
You wouldn't have been there in the first.
if I would have put in the work that I put in to get out in one semester from the start, I wouldn't have been there.
You would have been honors, bro.
Maybe. Maybe.
Nah, I get what you're saying.
You get me? But, like, you get me? That's when I started realizing, like, this isn't a game.
Yeah.
This isn't a game. Maybe, like at first I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to join a gang now, bro.
Everybody else is in the gang.
I'm gonna have to join a gang now. I'm gonna have. What is this? And then I realized that I'm like, I should probably do the work now.
Right.
I should probably do the work now. You feel? So then that was, and then I think I got DACA my sophomore year, but that didn't really at that time didn't really click because
It was 2012 when DACA came out.
yeah. So around my sophomore, probably end of freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
beginning of sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
So and I remember mom like making a big deal out of it because I was naive. I was ignorant, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right, to where like I knew that I had to get it because my mom said I had to get it.
Mm.
You get me? Like I didn't search up, can I go to college? What did you say? You Googled?
Yeah. What do you need to go to college?
What do you need to go to college? I didn't Google that, right? I honestly didn't know
that you were not going to be able to go to college?
Yeah. I didn't know that. You get me? Like, I'm in high school, so why can't...
Everybody else is going to college.
Yeah. Right? Like, and then at that time, I knew my place, but I didn't think that I needed whatever I didn't have to get into
college
or to continue my schooling after high school. You get me? So, and I remember mom like getting all... Because for DACA, it's a very long process.
Yeah.
At least in the beginning.
It was very long.
It's like 6, 7, 8 months probably.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to have like certain qualifications. You have to have been in the U.S. by like whatever time. I don't recall details.
I don't either, but
right. But the more proof you have, the better.
Right.
So mom was looking for my kindergarten diplomas, my whatever diploma. I didn't get any awards. Like this goes back to me not being a great student.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The only awards I got in school were my perfect attendance awards.
Because your mom wouldn't let you leave home without the bus, bro. She made sure you got on that bus, boy.
Bro, there's kids like I remember kind of side story. I remember kids being absent at school. They're like, oh, like so and so sick. Oh, they're not here. Lucky them. Right? I was sick and stuck when I was at school, bro.
Yeah.
And then mom was like, tapate la boca, like when you like cough or sneeze or whatever.
Yeah,
like I would do it, like I wasn't like sneezing on people or shit. You get me? But like
I would. Fuck them kids.
You get me? Like I wasn't sneezing on people or coughing, but like she was just like you're sick, so make sure you don't get anybody else sick. But
yeah,
you get me? Like, but For some reason, my mom thought that I was gonna be taken away if I were missing at school, bro.
Yeah.
But going back to DACA, so then I got in my sophomore year. They're like, oh, so now you have a Social Security. Now you're able to get a job. I'm like, a job?
Bro, I hate you. Oh shit.
A job? What? And I'm like, oh god, like you get me? Like I'm like, oh, this is serious.
Yeah.
This is serious, right? So
Yeah.
now, and then like my school counselor, they're like, she was aware that I was a DACA recipient, right? So I was never really embarrassed of it. I was never really embarrassed. I know some people are like more discreet about it, but
Yeah, I was very discreet about it.
yeah, you get me. I wouldn't shout you, hey, I'm DACA. You get me? like I just like didn't need.
Yeah, you didn't feel the need to shy away from telling people about it.
Yeah, yeah. But at that time, there was no need.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Obama administration was in office. It wasn't as tense.
Right. There was no need.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? So eventually my junior year came around. I didn't have my first job until I graduated high school. Like I know some people start working like when they're 16. They're dying to have a job for some reason.
For whatever.
For whatever reason.
Fucking loser.
for whatever reason. I'm sure like you get me? Like not that it's bad, not that it's good because it teaches your sense of responsibility.
Right. Yeah, I was making a joke.
It teaches you a sense of responsibility. Like one of our friends started working when he was a junior at McDonald's.
Right.
You get me? So I remember him getting home, and then you wouldn't work much either. You'd probably work like
a few hours. Shit.
16
yeah, they
hours.
don't. Yeah, I worked at McDonald's when I was a senior.
Yeah. So you work like 16 hours a week. You know what I mean? I'm like, that sucks, bro. Like, you
can't play now.
Yeah. They're like, nope, gotta run and work. I'm like, tragic, bro.
Yeah.
You get me? But that goes back to, at the time I didn't. You get me? I didn't need for whatever reason pick up a job. You feel like, and that kind of carried on. Until my senior year, when college applications started going out.
Right.
And then, thankfully, I had DACA at that time.
Right.
So they're like, you're social or whatever. You get me?
You can go to college.
You can go to college. And I'm like, cool. You get me? Like, yeah. You get me? Like I said, I was never a great student, so I didn't like look forward to that. I know I needed it because that's what you're just taught.
Yeah.
It's where you're told you need to go to college.
Right.
Not that you do, not that you don't, but everybody's own choice.
It's instilled into us. Yeah.
You get me? So I think the major part DACA played in my life was the work permit.
Right.
The work permit.
Right.
So my first job was at
Home Depot.
No.
It wasn't?
No.
I remember you talking about Home Depot.
I worked at Hollister.
Ooh.
I worked like 6 hours a week.
For the holiday season?
No, not even, bro. Like, it was like, there was just like, because people would come in and out so often. They had like a whole bunch of people.
That were just like 6 hours a week.
Yeah. You get me? Like maybe 10. You get me? But I think that's the first one. And then I went to Target. So when I got hired at Target, that's when my DACA had
expired for the first time. And they brought you into the office.
They brought me, like I got hired, this and that, filled out paperwork. Right, and they're like, hey, your social's bouncing back. I'm like, I didn't understand that. Like, what? What do you mean?
How's it going to bounce back? It's
like,
a card.
Yeah, like your social's not going through.
Right.
And I said, what?
Try again.
Have
you tried turning it off and turning it back?
Put it in rice.
Yeah.
You get me?
And so that was like the first time where you felt like you were encountering something serious that you were like, oh. Right.
So then, luckily, my mom had already, right? So this, like I said,
you were just probably graduating high school, or maybe graduated.
Barely graduated high school. So my mom was still doing things. Mm-hmm. You get me? So my mom had already applied to renew my thing. You get me? So I had it my sophomore year, but didn't use that at all.
Right. You just got into it because I think that was the window, and they had gave it like a certain period window.
Well, it was a new program, so like everyone like, hey, let's rush through it. You get me? Like we need it.
Right.
You get me? So I didn't use it my whole like I had it sophomore, junior, senior year, and it's every 2 years, 3 years, 2.
At first it was 2 years, and then it became just like 1 year.
But this was like recently, like the 1 year was recently.
Yeah, it was during the Trump administration, I think.
Yeah. So I had it for 2 years, and then so going back to Target, right? It bounced, but then like I said, my mom had
Already began
applied it. So then, luckily for me, that the new card with the new date came like a week and a half later, bro.
Wow.
What timing?
Well, your mom already knew, bro. So
what time? I know, but like, who would have thought that the week before I would be applying for a job that
was gonna require it.
Not necessarily required, but the current one that I had wasn't gonna work.
Right.
You get me? It's not like they give you a new one; they just kind of like activate it in a way.
Yeah. You get a new permit.
You get a new card with new dates or whatever, with new current dates.
But the Social Security never changes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Sorry.
Yeah. So then what they put in the system isn't your Social Security; it's the actual work permit number. I'm not sure if you knew that.
No, I had no idea.
So they don't put. So when you apply, at least for us DACA recipients, when you apply for a job,
instead of putting a Social Security number,
you put
the card number.
The card number,
which is then attached to the Social Security number.
Yes.
You guys want to know mine?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, but so it bounced back, and they're like, if you don't bring it, like they weren't threatening me.
No,
like the lady was like, she was like super sweet, you know, an older lady. She's like I'm trying my best. Like I know the position you're in.
Right.
Like try to bring you something. And she would like ask me like, hey, like do you have it? Like, 'cause I was working there. I was working there. You get me? Like, so they were giving me that chance.
Oh wow.
To work it, you feel?
Right.
So then she would like ask me like almost every day, hey, do you have it? Like I don't have anything. You get me? So like in a week and a half later, it came, like 2 weeks probably, and everything was fine and dandy, right? But that's like the first time like I knew I wasn't in trouble. I just knew like
something had to be done.
Right, something had to be done.
Something legal had to be done.
Right. And then, well, that's used for college as well. Mm-hmm. You get me? So then, like for DACA, you're able to have, we talked about it earlier, the college loans, but specific and special kind of loans. Mm-hmm. Specific and special kind of loans. You get me? Like you don't get the full, let's just say $15,000 that your friend that's a citizen gets. You get $3,000 to $5,000. Mm-hmm. Right, which is in a way like, well, you got something, so shut up about it.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay it back.
Yeah. So you do get grants and stuff like that. You get me? But then like going into college, I would think like, how am I gonna pay for this? Because I was told that I wouldn't get the full amount that everybody else got. Mm-hmm. And I guess what you got varied on your situation.
Like income, like family income.
Family income. So at the time, you have no credit. You have
right.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But you're still dependent on your parents' taxes or whatever. Mm-hmm. So they base off your parents' income.
Dude, honestly, I don't think I even knew that.
Yeah. So they do all that. They tell you you're not gonna get the whole amount, but you're gonna get some help. Mm-hmm. It depends on what it's usually like if you make under $70,000, which cake, okay, $70,000, right? But then I knew like, oh, so this is very, very different. That's another time when I realized like, oh, I'm much different from. That's a big difference, $3,000 to $5,000 compared to like the $15,000 somebody else is gonna get.
Right.
You get me? So right. I wouldn't say I take it for granted, which in a way I did. Mm-hmm. Because for the time that I spent at that time, for the time I spent for the time spent at that time, I should have done more with that time. If that makes sense.
No, I get what you're saying.
You get me? So that's when I started realizing that like this is much different for me then.
Right. Yeah, and then the opportunities that came on after that were, first, like you said, was realizing that your situation is different and that you have to do not necessarily more,
but things are different.
Yeah, you just have to move through life a little bit differently. Like you have to jump through some loopholes to be able to get that. But overall, for me, like I think as soon as I got DACA, like I realized like, oh shit, like I'm gonna be able to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And so as soon as I got DACA, my whole demeanor changed, and I think that showed in my senior year of high school when I was I had to like you said, go to continuation school and finish up some paperwork, and then I really got on it. I really was like, okay, like I now I have a chance. Now I have a fighting chance at life. Like I'm gonna do something. So I started researching like high paying jobs and you know, like kind of like low college, high experience, high paying jobs, which is how I came across being a mechanic. And at the time I was really into cars too. I got into cars. So it was just like a perfect mix.
Right.
And then I found my college and I went, and that's how I ended up to where I ended up now. And then, but going back to all of it, like that is what opened the door for me. Like without DACA, like I nothing would have changed. Like I would have been, I don't know. I don't know where I would have been.
Right.
I honestly don't know. Who knows? Like I might have worked construction. I might have just stayed at McDonald's. I don't know. Actually, not even at McDonald's, bro. That's
Right.
the other thing too. That
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
I didn't realize that I couldn't get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Once I realized I couldn't get a job, I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And then so finally, like life started to make sense after that and I am very grateful that I was able to receive it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree, because now, like my current job, I'm a college coach.
Right.
I'm a college coach. I'm a club coach. Right.
Dang, bro.
Right. So I need to be able to work legally.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So all that, like, I mean, like I wouldn't say bumps, but like the prior experience that I went through of working with the retail jobs that I had,
Mm-hmm.
because of my social, you know,
Right.
because of DACA, you get me. So like
Right.
you said, if I didn't have this, I wouldn't have worked any of those jobs.
Right.
I wouldn't have the job I have now.
Right.
I wouldn't have much of the life that I have now.
Right.
You get me?
Yeah. And that's a big deal, man. I hope that you're proud of yourself for that, because
Oh, definitely.
but at the same time, it's like I think for people that try to argue against DACA, like our argument is none of this would have been possible without DACA.
Right.
Like the jobs that even just sitting in this apartment, like this apartment wouldn't be possible. The jobs that we have wouldn't be possible. Like the equipment wouldn't be possible. Our mindset wouldn't be possible, because our ability to be able to get legal, high-paying jobs allows us to open up our doors to new opportunities.
Yeah.
Like I saw my parents go through unstable schedules their entire lives, and so like now that I have some sort of consistency, I am able to come back home and think about a business and think about investing and think about like all these other aspects of life that I wouldn't have been able to think about if DACA wasn't a something that happened.
Yeah.
And it's tough for people that don't even have the chance to be able to get DACA, because the pretty much the same way that we at one point realized that our life was kind of dead end, they go through their entire lives like that.
Yeah, there's you had to be in U.S. by like a certain time, or you have to like prove that you went in school, whatever. You get me? So DACA is really, from at least from my knowledge, made for people that were brought here against, like not against, but like, how would you say it?
Yeah. You were brought here. What? You were brought here, not knowing where you were headed.
Right.
Pretty much, it's pretty much intended for kids. It's called DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals.
Yeah.
Which roughly translates to you were brought here as a kid, and therefore, because you were unwillingly being brought.
I wasn't sure if unwillingly was a what was
Unwillingly
was
is a
word.
yeah.
That sounds like
Sounds like you made it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for kids that were unwillingly brought into the United States, not knowing that
Like
they
you weren't kidnapped. Like
yeah, you were. Yeah, but you also were not aware that any of this was happening, and so therefore they're giving you a break.
Right. So going back, like there's people that didn't qualify for that by like a couple months, by a couple years, bro.
Yeah.
You get me? So now they have to kind of wait for a turn for them to be able to do something now. If it ever comes up.
Yeah, if it ever comes up. Yeah. It's too wild, dude. But overall, I enjoy what the United States has provided for me.
Yeah.
And it almost baffles me when people choose not to take opportunities when they live in this great big countries. That when people don't, like I said, just don't take the opportunities that are available. And maybe you need to experience the hardships so to be able to realize that not everything is handed to you. Not everything is available for you. Because at one point I realized that these opportunities were not available for me. And should none of this have happened, the opportunities that I see now that I'm able to take now, I might have not even wanted to take them. Because my life would have been so easily, I never would have been aware of the stuff that I couldn't do.
Right.
I never would have been aware of the fact that I couldn't go to college, that I couldn't get a good job. And so therefore I would have gone through life just coasting. Like, I can get an easy job. I can get a high paying job for minimum effort.
Do you think that people that are in the opposite situation of us have it easier?
What do you mean by easier?
Easier. You get me? Because of we dealt through hardships, right? We had to adjust and make certain things possible for ourselves. You get me? Like, we had to work around it. You get me? And people that are in the opposite situation of us don't have to go through that hardship.
Right. Yes and no. I think their life might have been easier in the sense that they didn't have to worry about their legal status when they were younger. But I mean, at the end of it all, life is what life is. It's a bunch of hardships and suffering, and somewhere in the middle, you just kind of find something that is worth living towards, and you make it all happen. But I'm sure that they have their own hardships that they're having to deal with. Maybe their dad's not around. Maybe their mom's not around. Maybe both of their parents are not around because they have such stable jobs that require them to be in the office all the time. And so therefore they grow up with depression or mental health issues or, whatever other issues that maybe you and I didn't have to grow up with. So I wouldn't say necessarily easier, but easier in the aspect that they didn't have to deal with that. And again, bouncing back, I think that because we had to adapt and go through all of these difficulties, we're able to become more aware of the opportunities that we do have.
I agree. Well, like everyone has their own problems, like you said, right? Maybe they didn't face people in the opposite situation. It was didn't face the scenarios that we went through, but like you said, maybe they faced through. Maybe they had what's the word? what's the phrase? They had their parent around to where they're able to provide everything material, what and the material aspect for them, right? But maybe they weren't able to provide something else. So yeah, I mean, like it is everyone has their own hardships.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean overall, and I'm glad that we were able to get DACA, and then the proof is in the pudding. You know, like I mean, look at you, like you got to be proud of yourself. You're a college coach, bro. Like it's we don't stop and tap ourselves in our backs every once in a while because we were so go and no less was expected out of us. Mm-hmm. You know, like you said, your job was always to keep your grades up. As soon as the grades were done, your job was to make something of yourself, and so that expectation is always there.
Right.
You know.
No, I agree. I agree. 100%.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Then just be proud of how far you've come and look back. You know, like that's all we really did right now. All we really did was just kind of like slow down, sat down, talked to each other, and remembered each other of what it is that we went through.
And even if you're not at the point where you want to be, don't compare yourself to so and so and so and so and so and so, because it doesn't change the scenario that you're in, mm-hmm. And two, if anything, it just impacts you negatively because now you have all these thoughts in your head on why things aren't happening.
Perfectly said.
You get me?
Perfectly said, man.
So you get me, like, and then at least for me, I'm not fully where I want to be. Yeah. I'm working towards it. Right. It was probably like 2 years, probably.
2 years
last year was a whole year.
Oh fuck COVID.
Fuck that.
I forget about that shit.
Yeah, but before I saw him last one, like probably like a year and a half. Mm-hmm. We didn't split up, but we just kind of like everybody started doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. You get me?
Yeah, we had to, bro. We're getting older. What are we supposed to do, bro? We're just supposed to party the rest of our lives? No, thank you.
That's the window that we're talking about earlier.
Yeah,
the 17 through
20,
that's 2021.
20, yeah,
2021. Now you're able to go to the bar, whatever.
Right.
But like that's expensive, son.
Facts, bro. We like to party. We can always party fucking later on when we have our millionaire jobs. Because we will. Yeah. Somebody's gonna make it, bro.
Yeah.
One of us is gonna make it.
It only takes that one, right? That one to make it to not necessarily feed everybody, but help everybody, help people come up.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
For however you did it, whether that's you figured out how to work the stock market, you figured out you started your own business, you whatever.
So crack, whatever you do.
Whatever it is, whatever is behind that multi-million-dollar home.
That's facts, bro. That's facts. What the fuck were you saying before that,
bro? That if you're not where you want to be, you get me. That doesn't mean just stop, right? Or just because so and so's where they want to be, and let's say you and your buddy had the same goal,
and he just so happens to get around to it before you do.
Yeah, don't
knock yourself for it.
Don't knock yourself down because that's not gonna. You get me, and don't hate on it either.
No, of course not.
And don't hate on it either because that it's just by nature it's bound to happen to where we're like, oh, how did they finish, or how did he get there, how did she get there, before like what did you do? You get me? Like it's okay to ask what did you do, right if you're gonna use that information to help you, not to hate on that person,
right. And I think what you're saying about not comparing yourself to others is the key takeaway from all this is just don't compare yourself. Like everybody is in their own path to life. Yeah. And what works for you doesn't work for others. Bro, sometimes literally just the way that we grew up plays a huge factor into how much we can get done. Yeah. And it's not something that you realize unless you sit down and you talk to yourself and maybe even get a counselor if you need to and realize like,
I don't think that's in our culture though. Like that's not our culture. It's not, and it's nothing. I think it's a bad thing that's not in our culture.
Right. I agree with you. I think it's a bad thing that any of this is not in our culture.
You get me? But then it goes back to hardships again, because not everybody has the resources to come across those things. You get me? So I think that's why it's not in the culture. You get me?
Right. And if anything, the life that we want is for this particular reason, to be able to provide counseling for our kids so that they can be better
if needed. Yeah.
Right.
If needed, I agree.
Yeah.
Again, it just goes back to just bettering yourself, accomplishing what you want to do first, and then in a way bless others, whether that's your family, whether that's your friends, or whether that's whatever,
your kids or your yeah. All right, man. Well, this was beautiful. I didn't even realize my TV went off. Fuck, I just realized that right now. I had Frosty the Snowman on there. It was beautiful.
Yeah, the campfire.
How long ago did it go off?
I don't know. It got cold when the fire turned off.
I know. I realized. No, I mean that's a wrap. Cool. Thank you so much for doing this, bro.
Thank you for having me out.
Yeah.
I know we were planning it for forever.
Yeah, I mean things. COVID fucking happened and things happen and life happens. But
funny.
Yeah. But anyways, man,
Thank you.
I'm thankful that you're here and I'm glad that you came here. I hope that everybody has a good holiday season. I hope you have a good holiday season.
Thank you. Likewise, bud.
I hope Santa Claus brings you everything that you ever wished for. And spend it with your close ones, man. Enjoy it. Like everybody else out there, we've been away from our families for so long. If you're able to and you're comfortable enough to be able to hug your close ones, spend some time with your close ones, definitely do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, especially after that long year.
Yeah, it's been a long year. Sad year.
That long year, which is kind of one big blur
in the freaking timeline.
It's one big blur.
Yeah, literally. I forget about that year.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where I reflect, like, I should probably hug mom more often. As you're older, I love you goes a long way.
Right. Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah. So this family, this holiday season, definitely hug your close ones a little tighter and remind them that you love them. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you. Peace.